You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Ulises Sambrano, and on behalf of Kevin Weiss, who you will see on today's episode, we are the hosts of Locked On Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. This show is sponsored by BirdDogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB or enter promo code LockedOnMLB for a free white tech hat with any order. If you're on YouTube, you can see it right now. I am wearing one. You won't want to take your BirdDogs off, we promise you. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays and email us at lockedonrays@gmail.com. Okay, Rays fans. So what a good way to start this homestand. As we've highlighted before, the Rays are coming from 3 straight series wins, which is huge after what a disastrous July that was. So it's good to see the team kind of put that behind them. The feelings, the vibes are good on the clubhouse. I don't know if you guys saw, but Trisha Whitaker put out a picture that Sean Armstrong and I believe I'm blanking on somebody, maybe Jason Adam. They bought a ping pong table for the guys to kind of compete and not be on their phones in their locker rooms too much. Love that. So the vibes are good. They're winning again. That's important. I love that idea because it gets people, sometimes, although they're all teammates and all that, we all know that in our work, we have cliques. There are people that we gravitate towards more, either because of cultural backgrounds that are similar to us or because of interest or just personality. When there's a ping pong table there, it doesn't matter in which clique you are, especially when you're talking about competitive athletes. And so that gets the team to be a little bit more together and break those cliques apart. So I love that. I love that idea. That's a fantastic thing to have happened. Now, going back to what happened yesterday when the Rays won 4-1 against the Cardinals, solid game, a pitching duel. Of course, I believe I did say this on last night's episode that Mikolas could go deep. And guess what? He went deep. 7 innings pitched, 8 hits allowed, only 2 runs and 5 strikeouts. He is I think, one of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing. He can have a tremendous outing, and then sometimes just the wheels come off for him, which is, you see that in a lot of pitchers in MLB. But last night he was on his game. But who else was on his game? Zach Eflin. Zach Eflin was on his game. He went 7 deep, worked with the sinker, the cutter, the breaking balls. Everything was keeping them off rhythm. He is just incredible at the Trop. I know that we've said this before, but it has to be repeated because he keeps doing it. In 13 starts at the Trop, he's won 10 of them. I know it's a little bit too early to talk about playoffs and rotations and how they can look. But honestly, how do you not pitch this guy at the Trop if you have the chance? It doesn't matter if it's game 1, game 2, or whatever. You have to pitch him at the Trop if you have the opportunity to do so. The guy likes pitching there. The numbers say so. So very, very good outing from Zach Eflin there. But I think he only allowed a home run to Nolan Arenado, by the way, which, he's a Hall of Famer. So can you really judge him? Only 4 hits, one of them including the home run, by the way. So no, tremendous outing by Zach Eflin with the 8 punchies. Now, the player of the game, the MVP of the game, has to be Yandy Diaz and his biceps. Birthday boy. You've heard from MLB players that when they get a knock, it's a good day. Hitting is incredibly difficult in MLB. So when you go up there and you get a hit, that's a good day. You did your job. Boom. You got your hit. Yandy Diaz got 4 last night. 4 for 4 on his birthday. Like, I don't know about you guys. I'm a big birthday guy. Love my birthday. I love to celebrate it. I love to do something fun for it. Can't wait. I'm still like an 8-year-old about my birthday. I really enjoy my birthday. Yandy Diaz gave himself a tremendous birthday present last night, going 4 for 4, and was able to celebrate it with his teammates. Which, by the way, if you have not seen this, please go to NT social media and see the videos. Evan Klosky put them out there. Mark Topkin put them out there. Trisha Whitaker put them out there. Where Jake Diekman actually hired a Latin band to follow Yandy around during batting practice and warm-ups. And so that was pretty funny. Like that, I love seeing that. That just with the ping pong table and Jake Diekman, a guy that got in the middle of the season doing this for Yandy, I feel like that speaks volumes on where the team is mentally and gelling, which they need to. By the way, this is not like they need to do this after the July that they had, after so many injuries. And yes, we will talk about the Shane McClanahan news on the second segment. I gave that to Kevin. I gave that to Kevin. We split duties today, as you guys can see. So we might have to try this a little bit more often and then not, which is like splitting segments between him and I due to work schedule conflicts and all that. But yeah, no, I love seeing that. The Jake Diekman hiring a band to follow Yandy. So that was really good. But of course, just because you're the MVP, that does not mean that you're the only guy that did good things for the team. Isaac Paredes showing that pop. I think we're to the point where Isaac Paredes has to be in the lineup unless he's hurt. He's an everyday player. He's a Randy Arozarena type player. Like I don't care if you put him at third. I don't care if you put him at second. I don't care. First, DH. Don't care. Isaac Paredes needs to be in the lineup already. He's an everyday type guy. I don't care about swing planes. I don't care about, the run value of that pitch. No. This guy has shown you that he's not only having a good season, he's been improving year to year, month to month, rather. So we're to that point. And, some players, when they get to a team, it's very difficult for them to shine quickly and get that manager's, seal of approval of like, hey, guy, you got this. I remember how, with Wade Davis in 2012, Madden was kind of not giving Wade Davis enough of playing time, and he had to earn that playing time, even though you knew that Wade Davis had this in the back pocket when he was transitioned to the bullpen. And then at the end of the season, he started to give him more playing time. So he had to earn that. Jeff Keppinger, my goodness, everybody was looking at Jeff Keppinger saying like, this guy needs to play every day. I remember in like mid-August or around this same time frame, BA did like an Uli rant, which was awesome. He was like, Jeff Keppinger needs to be in the lineup at all times. It doesn't matter what, he needs to be in the lineup. That's the point where I'm reaching with Isaac Paredes. Needs to be in the lineup. I don't care if it's third, second, first, DH. You figure out a way. That's Kevin Cash's job and the coaching job. How do we get him in the lineup today? That's it. But he has to be in the lineup. Unless he's hurt, unless he's nursing something, fine. That's cool. We don't want to put players hurt out there if we can avoid it. But he needs to be in the lineup. He makes the team better. And defensively speaking, my man has smooth hands. Third, at second, you don't think he's horrible at first? I feel like he has to be in the lineup every day. And then you go down the list of things that you liked seeing yesterday. Josh Lowe with that hustle triple. He busted it out of the box. Lovely to see that. Brandon Lowe, after a couple rough strikeouts, he comes through with an RBI single. Randy comes through with an RBI single. Just a lot of good things, in the clutch moment. But look at all those names, and Wander also as well. So Wander got going, Yandy got going, Randy got going. You get a dub. Your best players have to be your best when you need them to. And last but not least, can't put this at the back end. I shouldn't have, but whatever. Christian Bethancourt with that pick at second base. Fantastic. I mean, not only was it a great throw, not only was it right on the money, not only was it sharp, but he picks it up from the dirt, the pitch. It wasn't an easy pitch to get that caught stealing with. I think that's huge. And I know people have been a little bit down on the catching offensive production. I know I have been. It's been disappointing, especially after that April that everybody had. But there are signs that Bethancourt might be getting hot again. I know that little blooper from yesterday's game, and I believe, was it against not the Astros or the Yankees? It was against the Tigers. He had a pretty good couple line drives as well. So, hopefully he's never going to be, JT Realmuto, but if you're providing that type of defense behind the dish and you get guys, caught stealing, I think that's worth something. And I know we want more offense, but sometimes we have to be, conscientious of what the team is and who they are. Up next, it'll be Kevin talking about Shane McClanahan's injury and what that means for the team. Before we get to that, got to talk about bird dogs. Bird dogs make you look good. Their stretchy khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and the leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. I don't go anywhere without my bird dogs anymore. They are my go-to. They've made my, hey, I'm going out. I'm going to Armature Works. I'm going to Ybor. I'm going to Channelside. Oh, guess what? I'm going to the Trop. Guess what I'm wearing? I'm wearing my bird dogs, baby. I'm wearing my bird dogs because they make me feel good. They make me look good. And you know what? I don't have to sacrifice movement at all when I'm wearing my bird dogs. It is fantastic. And guess what? If you go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB, or you can enter promo LockedOnMLB, you get a free white tech hat with your order, which I am wearing right now on YouTube. So if you're seeing it, boom, you know what it's going to look like. It is incredibly comfy and tremendous. So again, that's birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB, or you can use promo code LockedOnMLB for a free white tech hat. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you.
Well, unfortunately, yesterday's win is masked by the news or the update on Shane McClanahan that he is, quote, highly unlikely to pitch again in 2023. According to Rays manager Kevin Cash, the left-hander is facing possible season-ending surgery due to the forearm tightness that landed him on the injured list last week. Clearly, something has been wrong with Shane McClanahan since going on the 15-day IL back on July 1st due to mid-back tightness, and he has not been himself since mid-June, where he sported a 7.36 ERA in 6 starts, and just hasn't been able to last long either in many of those starts. And I know it's devastating news for the fan base and the team at large, but we still have to focus on the big picture here, that this is a good goal. This is a good ball club. This is a really good ball club. There's still something to play for. Once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. And the Rays still have a legit 1-2-3 combo, which can take you a decent way through the playoffs, assuming Tyler Glasnow, his back issue isn't a major thing. And then after that, Zach Eflin and Aaron Savali. Now, if something happens to one of those guys, maybe all bets are off, because I'm not so hot or confident that Taj Bradley would be able to fill the void as a number 2 or number 3 guy at this point, at this juncture, going into the later stretches of the season and into the playoffs. But I think it more so exasperates the need for the Rays to get that extra arm like they got in Aaron Savali, knowing that this was a possibility and just the importance of having the additional depth. But you really got to feel for Shane McClanahan and him being out for what looks to be an extended period of time. And if he has Tommy John surgery, just the rehab and the struggle that he's going to have to go through with that to come back, hopefully stronger and better than ever, although that's no guarantee. But one thing that would be seemingly working in his favor is that he is young. He is in good shape. It's not like he's in his late 30s or early 30s where coming back from an injury like that is a little bit more testy. He's still young enough to where having that second Tommy John surgery, he had his first Tommy John surgery back when he was a freshman at USF in 2016, that it shouldn't, hopefully it shouldn't handcuff him from being a very successful pitcher again. And maybe, the Rays certainly have a long list of pitchers who have dealt with injuries like that. So maybe he can cope and lean on the likes of Tyler Glasnow and Jeffrey Springs and Shane Boz and Drew Rasmussen for advice and what it's like to deal with that and being shelved for as long as you are, because it's not easy to stop playing the game that you love for as long as that will be. But it's extremely unfortunate, and it just gets me thinking a couple things. One, when Shane McClanahan went on the injured list back on July 1st due to mid-back tightness, I wonder if maybe pitching through that struggle led to this forearm issue. I don't know if his body or his action was overcompensating in some shape or form. I'd be curious to see, if a doctor has some advice or insight on that. The other thing too is, we've brought it up before. Has Shane McClanahan been offered previously a long-term contract extension that would theoretically buy out one or more of his free agency years, most likely, 2 to 3? If that type of deal was brought forward to him and his agent, and what the figure was, and if it was a palatable enough figure to where maybe he's regretting not signing a deal like that, if that actually came to fruition. Maybe it was 5-6 year, 40, 50, $60 million, whatever it may be, because anything can happen. I hope that Shane McClanahan can get back to his strong, superb self where he has 4+ pitches and is one of the most electrifying lefties and starters in all of baseball. But sometimes things happen, setbacks happen, and you're not the same guy. Ask Noah Syndergaard about that. Ask Corey Kluber about that. And I bring up a couple of those names because Corey Kluber is a really good example for whatever reason. Don't get me wrong, Corey Kluber has made a lot of money in his career, $61 million over the course of 12 seasons. But this is a guy that won 2 Cy Youngs and I believe finished top 10 in Cy Young voting 2 other years, and still has yet to have that huge 9-figure payday or huge long-term contract extension that, puts him and his family at ease. He's really, the last couple of years, if I recall, he's had to scrape and crawl for 1-year deals, whereas a guy like Eduardo Rodriguez is going to out-earn him for his entire career because he got a 4-year, $75 million in free agency. So, you get that security that can help you out a lot. And it doesn't matter if you get injured or you're not productive. If you turn into Carl Pavano or Kevin Brown or Mike Hampton or Barry Zito or Tim Lincecum, you still have that paycheck coming to you. So I would really like to go back and see if, that, because Ulises and I have just talked about previously that it seemed like it seemed like Shane McClanahan, going back in the past a little bit too much, that Shane McClanahan and his team were headstrong to fight, go through arbitration, get to free agency, and get that big deal. But what if he was offered something lucrative enough that, maybe he's regretting not signing something like that, signing that first fat payday? As Evan Longoria and so many others have said, don't say no to your first millions. for example, Brandon Lowe, what he's had to deal with going through injuries and so forth. He still has the paychecks coming to him, and he's still solid in that regard. We have more to get to on this, but first we have to tell you about something very important, and that is Sleeper. Do you think your favorite player can hit a homer tonight? Well, we hope so, and you can do so. You can try to do so and guess to do so on Sleeper, where that allows you to swing for the fences with up to 100 times payouts. All you have to do is choose 2 or more players that you like and select more or less based on their stat categories like home runs, strikeouts, hits, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win big. They have something called dynamic payouts, which are live. In short, it means each player projection has a multiplier attached to it as opposed to preset multipliers based on the number of legs in a contest. So it's something worth checking out and investigating there. We want you to check out Sleeper, have fun with that. And if you use promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. So continuing on Shane McClanahan for a moment. Again, I don't think we'll have a concrete answer on what course of action he'll take until sometime next week. He's still visiting doctors and specialists across the country, but certainly not good news in the Shane McClanahan regard. And you just hope that 1-2-3 punch of Glasnow, Savali, and Eflin, Savali, I should say, that they stay healthy. As we know, the bullpen is not as strong as years past. It's not like you can have a bunch of 5 and dive guys or 4 2/3 guys and then utilize the bullpen to confidently get you through it. And I think this is going to be a case, and maybe we're starting to see some of it as of late, is the offense has to continue to step up and provide in pounds. And maybe this is one of those years later on in the season where there's been so much over the Rays history. The focus has been on pitching and defense, getting them through. Now it might be offense and defense getting them through. And again, it's going to be tough. Whether Shane McClanahan was healthy or not, you have a lot of competitive teams that made a lot of inroads at the trade deadline. You already have teams like the Braves and the Dodgers and what they're doing, but then you go out and look at what the Texas Rangers did in acquiring Max Scherzer and Jordan Montgomery and Aroldis Chapman, and the Houston Astros going out and getting Justin Verlander, the Orioles going out and getting Jack Flaherty and thinking they have something in Shintaro Fujinami, assuming that they get his control issues back on tap. The Blue Jays added Jordan Hicks, so they have a bolstered bullpen, and I think they should be pretty well set up in their rotation between Kevin Gausman, Jose Barrios, and Ryu. And then you have teams like the Brewers. I mean, there's other teams on the come up as well. So you got to see where the Rays fit in that end. I mean, if we're doing a power rankings of, World Series contenders, I don't know, you put the Rays maybe 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. I definitely don't think they're ahead of the Braves or the Rangers or the Astros or the Dodgers at this point. Now with the Orioles, as much as they've been successful this year and have impressed, and I think it's a great storyline for sure, even though they are a foe of the Rays and in the same division. Something that I would have reservation about with them, despite as good of a young group and core and roster that they've set forth, is they don't have that playoff experience. And there's something different when the lights come on and you have to deal with that and navigate through that for the first time. And it's just a new experience that I think teams like the Rays are much more prepared for. Teams like the Blue Jays and the Dodgers are much more prepared for, the usual suspects. So that's where I would give, the Rays, with Shane McClanahan or without Shane McClanahan, give him a little bit of a nod in that regard. So that'll be something to watch out for, but there's still a lot of baseball left. A lot can happen. And who knows, maybe, not wishing this on anybody, but maybe some injuries pop up on some of these other teams too. Just, it is what it is, but I don't think that, if you're a Rays fan, just wither up into a hole and go to sleep or anything. Like, this is still a really, really solid group. And maybe the Rays have some iterations up their sleeve to try to mitigate this issue in terms of what they're working with on Erasmo Ramirez and Zach Littell and some of the injured guys that may be coming back. So again, it certainly does not replace Shane McClanahan, but at least providing some of the back end depth to get you through the remainder of the season and then get you into the playoffs and then see what happens from there. So getting to some listener comments real briefly on the update on Shane McClanahan per Mark Topkin revealing the bad news. Ty McCann says, I think we all saw the writing on the wall. Although I'm sure he wants to avoid the knife if possible, I think this was inevitable. Better to get it done and out of the way now and work towards the future. Sidney Morton says, extremely upset, but considering he was struggling his last few outings, the Rays should have known something was up and made more aggressive moves at the trade deadline. Pete says, MLB teams have all of these talented pitchers, but they seemingly have no idea how to prevent this sort of thing and keep them healthy. That's my biggest takeaway. 702 living, but always 813. That's a long Twitter name there. Says, we are doomed. You could see this months ago, and they need more depth with history of the staff. They needed more live. So there is all of that. And for what it's worth, terrible timing with the, I believe, Shane McClanahan bobblehead giveaway on August 12th, this coming weekend. Talk about a gut punch and a little salt to the wound there of that giveaway. Maybe with starting pitchers, do bobblehead or promotional giveaways in April or May, and even then you're not guaranteed, as we learned with Drew Rasmussen and Jeffrey Springs. So we'll continue to monitor this and give you updates, but yeah, it's going to be tough to navigate and get through. But again, don't just give up on this group. They can still find a way. I am confident in that. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.